No intro for now, because we still 5 minutes away from start time, and so yes, today it's more like we're just here to wait for the 5 minutes before it's time to start today's episode. Yeah, so let's
Hang around.
wait and get people across, and then yeah. Right, Prissy?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. So we're just sitting and waiting till it is two two
Say
2:30. Yeah, exactly.
30
And 6:30
EST.
GMT. Exactly. That's right. Okay, so let me go ahead and share on Facebook that we live. Yep. Okay. You don't want to miss today's episode. I think it's been quite a while since the two of us have been here to host the event. I mean, for some few weeks now, it's been us having very
Yes.
very wonderful guests here and there. So yeah, so we have 3 more minutes to go. No countdown playing today. We are the countdown.
Can you sing some jazz?
Oh.
The song that's
Yeah, so Prissy wants to sing, but the day Prissy decides to sing, I'll choose not to be here.
So let's hear your beautiful voice.
The day Prissy decides to
It's
sing.
not about me. Hear your beautiful voice for the countdown.
Oh, okay, yeah, that'll be good.
Us.
Yeah. Maybe the next time we'll have you sing for the countdown. Then the next time I'll sing, yeah, and then we'll have people figure out who did it best. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. Good point. Let's see. And like I mentioned the last time, I would try my possible best to be engaging all of us. Reading our comments and having us all share in the conversation as we try to get it very interactive. Very, very interactive. Okay. Yeah, so when you join in, let us know you are in, so we engage you. Want to keep it very, very interactive because it's nicer like that. It's more interesting. We have 1 more minute to go. Okay. 3 more seconds. Yeah. It's not easy just waiting. It's just sitting and waiting and doing nothing. Yeah. But it's a nice twist to it. Okay. So let's go now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dear Man. Oh, Prissy, you want to do it this time? Okay, yeah. So welcome to another episode of Dear Man. It's good to come to you again on another bright Saturday morning. Or
Is it
Saturday.
bright here?
Yeah. It's bright and snowy. Here. Yeah. Okay. So today we're going to talk about, and this is unannounced. Even for us discussing this, it's more like unplanned. We're just coming to talk about a very important topic when it comes to relationships or marriage. And I don't think we've ever hit on this before, on this topic before.
Mhm.
So, yes, get ready for it. But before then, go out there, hit the follow button on Facebook, hit the subscribe button on YouTube so that you'd always be notified when we have a nice episode coming your way. Okay. So today we want to talk about intimacy in relationships or in marriages. It is one of those very sacred areas that needs a lot of careful addressing of the issues that pertain to that. So when we watch a lot of these movies and fairy tales and all, it's more like people have a very nice time with intimacy and all. But we really want to look at what it involves, especially in the marriage context. And so that is our topic. We're going to look at the good, the bad, and all. So before people get married, the thought is that, at least for me, is that that would always be wonderful times that you would have together, blah 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 blah. But sometimes we lose sight of the fact that there are times when it is not all that glorious or wonderful, because you will not always it wouldn't be like you always want to be intimate, but sometimes you need to do it out of a sense of duty, because if one party is in the mood and the other party is not, then you don't as scripture says, you don't deny yourselves your body. And so it wouldn't be like every time all of you would be happy go jolly your job, to always be intimate. And so yeah, Prissy would have your take on this before I come in again. But if you have any, I know a lot of people have things to say about intimacy. So go in there, put your comment down there on the chat. I'm ready, watching, and then would have you join the conversation. Yeah, Prissy.
Okay, so what I have to share is that before we get married, we have that perception, like you've already said, that everything intimate is like it's going to be nice. Having sex in marriage is going to be enjoyable, but it's actually not always the what we perceive it to be. Yeah. And so
Right.
if you are entering into a marriage and all you have to give your spouse is sex or intimacy, because there are some people who enter marriage and they feel that, especially the women, we feel that once we have fulfilled our part of giving our husband sex, that is all we have to give in the marriage. And sorry to disappoint you that sex is not enough in marriage. You have to bring something more than sex to the marriage,
Right.
because it will get to a time it will be like work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So I want to use this opportunity to how do you call it? Is it dispel, for a lack of a better word, that perception that for a woman, all you can give in a marriage or a relationship is sex. No, you should have more than that to give in a marriage or in a relationship.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So, from what Prissy said, then for men, I don't know what the thinking is. I mean, when it comes to okay, what our duties and roles are in marriages and all, but clearly it wouldn't just be about you being intimate or you giving sex to each other. I mean, life is bigger than that, and that is a very important part of the marriage. But that is not all about the marriage, right? That is not. I mean, it's not a case of okay, like Prissy mentioned, if you've been able to keep your husband happy or your wife happy in the sexual category, then I mean you good, and you have a very perfect marriage. And hey, Emmanuel Bentum, yeah, I see Emmanuel Bentum says, yeah, that's true, because you see, it's you need to be a holistic person, or you need to come in different spheres. So I mean, if all you've done is have in mind that yes, you're going to be the best whatever when it comes to sex, that is good. You need to make your husband or your wife happy, but that is not
After
all.
that, you
Okay,
have to
now
eat.
let's go to the yeah, you have to eat as well. Exactly. I mean, because you can just go on and on and on. You die. Anyway, now let's go to another part of this discussion, and that is about people making excuses when it comes to intimacy. People making excuses when it comes to intimacy. Now, you see, there are so many things that we do in this life that we don't necessarily, we are not necessarily in the mood to do. So when it comes to work, I know most times you wake up and check, oh no, another day to go to work. Oh no. Especially if you don't love your job. And that's bad. I mean, if you always feel that way about your job, then you need to change jobs. There, even if you love your jobs, there are times that you feel like, oh no, I wish I could have today off. That's accepted. And it's the same thing when it comes to intimacy in marriage. We have situations where people always make excuses when it comes to intimacy, but unfortunately, we can't have a healthy marriage with such excuses. I mean, think about it. Both spouses have things to think about, worry about, and so on and so forth. So if out of all the things your spouse has to think about, worry about, the burdens they carry, blah, 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 they come and want to be intimate with you, then maybe the nicest thing you could do as a spouse is to appreciate that out of everything your spouse has to think about, your spouse is also thinking about being intimate with you, and give into it. It is quite difficult for me when I hear a lot of excuses when people come like, oh no, you like it too much, or or is that all you think about, or and so on and so forth. This is critical because it is one of the few things that you wouldn't want your partner to get from elsewhere. When it comes to food, at least your partner, I mean, sometimes even you and your partner, you visit restaurants to go eat, so you can get food from elsewhere. When it comes to laughter, you can go to comedy shows. There are so many things that you can actually get outside of your marriage, but one of those things that you can't get outside of your marriage is that intimacy or sexual satisfaction. And so you shouldn't be the one pushing your partner to go out. That it would just be like you digging your own grave. And then later, when the unexpected happens, then you go chasing pastors around and all, trying to get your marriage back. Prissy, what's your take on that?
So like you said, it's a commitment. So
Yeah.
you should consciously, because sometimes you are so tired, you are not in the mood, and then but once one person is in the mood, you have to like try and
you are the same flesh, right?
Yeah.
So both of you should be in the mood.
Brain work also, so you just have to psych yourself, and so that's what all I have to say about it. But my question is that some people have also mentioned that their partners are too intimate. Is there something like that? Too, like, they want to have sex every day or want to have sex 3 times a day? And so in that situation, I want to ask our viewers, can you deny?
Yeah, right. That's a good question. So Emmanuel is saying, it's a good thing people don't know, right? Yeah, and so to Prissy's question, is it? That I might think needs the attention of a specialist, maybe a doctor or something. I mean, for someone who would want to have sex 3 times every day, you might need to dial your doctor's number. I might be wrong, but you don't go to work or what? and with all the issues between Ukraine and Russia and all, you still have time to be thinking about that 3 times a day. I mean, come on, why? You definitely need to visit your doctor. But that's on the lighter note. But yes, I guess there is also what would be that brings to mind the question. I mean, Prissy, is it, where do we draw the line as to it's too much? I guess that should be between the partners, right? And based on what you guys do, your type of work, it probably, if you have some investment and everything stored up somewhere, then you don't need to work. So when you wake up, you just eat and then get intimate. Maybe that's your work. But Emmanuel Bentum says that 3 times, mommy, it's not too much for the day. Okay. Like every day. Okay, you might kindly explain more. I mean, unless nothing else keeps you busy, you get it. Because, for example, if I take myself and Prissy, early in the morning, everyone is rushing to go to work, go drop the kids, go. Now you go to work 8 hours, come back, and sometimes the work even doesn't end after that.
You bring work
You come back and you bring work home, and you dealing with stuff here and there across board and all. Yeah, that's quite difficult. Yeah. Yeah, Emmanuel is saying one person will by all means will die. Yeah, I mean, for that could be too much. Prissy, do you have any idea of what should be considered too much?
I feel that so long as both of the partners understand and agree that they are okay with it, fine. Because I think I've ever read somewhere that somebody has. It's quite ridiculous, but like 12 times a day. I'm like, no, this is either to break a Guinness Book of Records, but it's it's a lie, because as we go about our daily activities, we get tired, and especially if you are in our situation where we live apart because of work nowadays, couples are able to live apart for months and all that. And so I think it's just a communication thing between the two partners. And I believe that if one partner voices it out that is too much, the other person should understand. Even though we are committed to it, but we should also be able to give allowance to our partners as well, because we all have work to do. Unless maybe the person doesn't do any kind of work, like they are at home and they are
the two of them don't have work to do, so that's the work you can do. Yeah, that's also fine. Yeah, that's also acceptable. I mean, and one key thing I want to bring in, I mean, as we speak about intimacy and all, is that as I've mentioned in the past, make your husband or your wife very, very satisfied, such that they don't have a reason to I mean, even be tempted to look elsewhere. Because what happens is that usually when people are not married, their main focus is on sex. When you have a boy and a girl trying to date and all, their effort is to try to avoid being intimate. But funny enough, when people get married and, as it were, are in the right standing to, I mean, be intimate, rather there are things that always come up for people to be giving excuses. And so if you are, and from all that I have read and all, it looks like it is more a thing with the ladies, right? It is usually I watched a funny video on social media, I'm sure most of you have seen it, where a man says that, okay, out of 365 days, you've denied me X number of days, and the excuses you give is XYZ and blah, blah, blah. And the man had taken records of all that. You wouldn't want to have your spouse go through that. I mean, what's the point? You, especially for a responsible spouse that wouldn't want to be engaged with other people, you are putting you are torturing the spouse, and you are putting a burden on your relationship as well. And so
there are others too who deny their partner sex as a form of punishment for something they've done. That's one too. Like, aside, maybe the man is not being responsible at home. Because men are also supposed to provide for their home, but some women feel that they go to work and all that, and the man is at home doing nothing. At the end of the day, they have to be intimate again with the man. What do you think about that too? And then the second one is about a cheating spouse. So once a lady has caught a spouse, or a man has caught the spouse cheating, sometimes they haven't even informed the spouse that they know, but just so that they will also not catch STDs or something, they try to deny their spouses, or they try to not to be intimate with them. So that's also another thing that.
So to your first question about people punishing, I mean, their spouse with that, I'm trying to choose my words well, but I would think that is the height of foolishness. Really, I mean, it's just like saying that you punishing your kid, not giving them food because they did something wrong, right? if that kid develops an ulcer or something, you are the one supposed to still cater for the kid, and you see how foolish you've been. And so I don't think using sex or intimacy as a weapon of mass destruction is the right way to go. I mean, you you are not thinking well. On the flip side, most people rather use it to come together after an argument. I mean, to restore their relationship after they have some misunderstanding or something, but rather to use that and say that, okay, I'm punishing you because you did something wrong. I really think it's a silly thing to do, because when you people have their thresholds, people have their yield points. Don't position your spouse to be at a place where it's more like you push them out to be doing the wrong thing. Just think about it. You see, today there are a lot of people out there, both men and women, who are ready to pounce on people, to prey on people. You get it. It's more like sex out there. It's offered on a silver platter. Why would you put your spouse in that situation, that I'm punishing you because you did X, Y, or Z? Then when it comes to the second part, about Prissy, that question again.
And so people who like in
Yeah,
that
you
promiscuous.
try to abstain because of having a cheating partner and all.
Mhm.
Personally, I would say that um, mention that to your partner. Okay, that hey, I know you did this and this, and going forward, you will need to get tested or something. That's my personal opinion. Yes, obviously, you wouldn't want to also be a victim of someone else's mistakes. If your cheating partner goes out there and is being very silly, sleeping with people, you don't want to be a partaker of that glory and go contract diseases. I, I would think that, I mean, that's why communication is very important. And there is no trophy you gain by just keeping quiet and just deciding to, I mean, abstain from sex with your partner. It's better you communicate to your partner. And if it is something you want to do, get things made right, get a partner tested, blah 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 blah, before you resume your duties in that regard. I wouldn't expect that. Okay, you would just for the sake of, okay, don't keep your bodies from your spouses. You foolishly go in and then contract diseases. I mean,
Mhm.
it doesn't make sense at all. And so, if your partner is found in that situation, you will need to communicate. I know this is it. I know this is what you've done, and because of this, I'm sorry, I can't allow myself to. I mean, be what's the word, to contract a disease or something, and this is why. So I'm not holding myself from you just because of, I mean, because that's how I feel, but it's because of XYZ, and get tested, and then yeah, resume if you want to. Personally, I have a very, and Prissy, you know this, I have a very strict I have very strict rules when it comes to cheating partners, right? it, it is one of the only things that allows a man and a woman to go their separate ways. And to me, kudos to all those who have their spouses cheating and all, and they still accept them. That is a a mark of maybe true love. But personally, it's really putting a crack that is difficult to mend. You get it? And so at that point, then if one spouse is keeping or backing off because of that, yes, I think they need to get to the bottom of that and get it solved. And Emmanuel is saying sometimes the women also use that on the men. Oh, Emmanuel is saying that is true love. Yeah, yeah, that might be true love, but don't put someone through that trauma of having to overcome some I mean, your foolish escapade you've gone on, or don't put someone through that trauma to have to forgive you. Forgiveness wouldn't come that easy. You just putting your spouse through a lot, and you can avoid that. You get it? So yeah, that might demonstrate true love, that you can forgive people, but I feel that sometimes when that it's I mean, like, it goes to the limit, it's pushed to the limit, you are only there is a point where you can stretch a band, a rubber band or anything, and it can't gain its elasticity any longer. That is the yield point. It's gone beyond that yield point. You don't want to stretch your relationship through that. Okay, so it's more like, okay, let me go cheat on my spouse to see if our love is strong, or like what our love is true love. I mean, that's senseless. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
appreciate.
that in our setting, like the African setting,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
when a man goes to cheat, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's expected that the
Yeah.
woman should accept and pretend nothing happened.
Right.
But then when it
Yeah.
is the woman, everybody goes haywire. Like, hey, as for
Yeah.
women, you are not supposed to do that. You are not supposed. I think that
Yeah.
thing in the African setting or married to is wrong. We should
Yeah.
have an
I even
equal.
feel
We all have an equal stake in the marriage. So if the man goes
right.
and we feel that the woman, I am not saying that cheating is right, but if we feel that the woman
Yeah.
should easily forgive the man, then equally, if a woman goes, the man should easily forgive the woman.
Right. And I even feel that it goes beyond the African setting. I mean, it's a cultural thing that cuts across. When you cast your mind back to the story about the woman caught in adultery, yeah, remember that woman was brought to be stoned. Where was the man?
Yeah.
You get it. So it's really something that cuts across most cultures. And you don't want to, I mean, if you really, really feel that you are, I mean, you are in a union, you are committed to a spouse, and so on and so forth, then I really believe that it's one of those limits that couples should set. I might be wrong. But it takes, it might be how I think, but I think it takes a lot for someone to go in and cheat with someone else. You know, usually the saying is, it was a mistake. It's a lot of things happen before that can happen for it to just be called a mistake. You know, at a point, I feel that, yeah, at a particular point, you knew that, okay, I am going to really commit this sin, or I'm going to really make
Unless
this
the
mistake,
person
and
is
you
under the
happily,
influence of something, like maybe
of something, yeah, maybe alcohol, drugs, or something. But I feel it really takes a lot to get to that point. And so it would really, really, really be important for partners or spouses to really set the boundaries. To be honest with you, I don't know for myself, and Prissy, I've had these discussions with you. Personally, I don't know how I'll react to a cheating spouse. As I sit here, I don't know. Maybe at that time I would feel some overwhelming love, like Emmanuel is saying, and and have some forgiveness in my heart. But I don't feel there is an excuse for that, to be honest with you. Oh, Stelita is saying that do unto others as you want it to be done unto you. Yeah, exactly. That's a golden rule. And she says that there is no excuse. Stelita, I agree with you 100%. There is really no excuse. And just think about, maybe your spouse has been trying to get intimate with you and you have been making excuses, only to hear that you couldn't make excuses outside and you go sleep with someone else. It's difficult for me to understand, but it has become so common in this day and age that we don't even attribute the seriousness that we need to attribute to it. I mean, and Prissy, you know this about me. I am really very strict and stern when it comes to that, because I feel that it goes beyond it was a mistake. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So I have something else to ask. So
Yeah.
of late there are these things with, is it pornography? So we
Right.
have people who indulge in pornography and then they come to their
Right.
partners expecting them to perform like the porn stars, like do all these acts. So my question is that is it right for couples or married people to watch pornography? Usually we tell our youth or adolescents don't indulge in pornography.
Yeah.
But as a
Yeah.
married person, is it right for a married person to indulge in pornography?
Yeah, so I would say that, and I think we've had this discussion before. I would say that the two people involved would give themselves unnecessary expectations if they get involved in pornography, because from what I hear, a scene that you would see as, say, like 5 minutes of people getting intimate or having sex might have been shot over maybe three hours or 4 hours or maybe even 2 days. And so you would go see someone doing some acrobatics, and unknown to you, that they had to really do a lot of setup to get that person to be doing whatever you are seeing. And then you come to your poor spouse and say that, oh, you see this, you have to do the same thing. I mean, you would just be meeting out on unachievable expectations, to your spouse. I mean, so if it's more like the two of you go watch and are like, okay, so you see what this man did, maybe the man, like, let me chip this in. There has been always this joke around of people lasting 2 minutes or whatever minutes, and you call someone a 1 minute man or whatever. Now think about it. Something has been shot over a number of hours, and so on your screen you see someone lasting for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour, and you get to your poor husband and expect your poor husband to also do that. You might be shortening his life. You might actually be shortening his life. I mean, so what such things do to us is that they paint a picture of expectations that cannot be met. So that is a more reason why you should stay away. I mean, because then otherwise you would always not feel satisfied, because you would think there is something out there better than what your spouse is giving you. And it might end up pushing you out there, and you realize that, oh, it was a myth, or it's not real. And by then you would have destroyed something very nice or something very beautiful. Yeah, so that is my thought about it.
And then one last thing is
Mhm.
the use of aphrodisiacs. That before
Okay.
I moved here, I realized it's something that is really common in Ghana. You see
Yeah.
women carrying that thing on their head, like going around.
Yeah.
And like sex has been so glorified that people have
Exactly.
to use aphrodisiacs before they are able to perform. I don't know if that is true because I haven't used that myself before. But there's this myth that when you use them, you can go longer hours and all that.
Okay.
Honestly, I feel that you are either causing, you are probably hurting your liver because it has to take out a lot of these toxins out of your system. So you might, it might look like you are having, you are enjoying going long distance, but you might cut short your life. And some of them too are, I've forgotten the word, my chemistry is gone, but some of them can hurt your heart.
Okay.
So there are cholesterol hormones that can hurt you. So these aphrodisiacs that people buy and consume, and I don't know what they are looking to do. If it's your wife and your wife understands you, you don't need to go 3 hours, 4 hours. They will take you as you are.
You are not a VIP bus like to go Accra to Kumasi 4 hours. I think what's that? You are not. Yeah, and maybe Prissy, we would have time for you to share later, for you to share the science behind this with us. Because I mean, sometimes, like you mentioned, it's become so glorified, and people like sex sells. So people put it out there, they will be selling things, and people will be happily mixing concoctions and stuff and be drinking. Okay, let me go to the comments. Emmanuel says, please, to me, there are movies we can learn something out of it. Not really should be porn. Okay, so Emmanuel, you see, one thing that I feel no one teaches anyone, one of the things is how to have sex. Because when we got married, surprisingly, young boy, young girl, we were able to have sex. Like no one came to show us. Our parents were not even there. No one, we were able to. So, I mean, some of the things we think, okay, we can learn from, I mean, it might not really be. God has put that instinct in us that we can do anything, any gymnastic and all. We might not really need to. Okay. Then Samjo says, great work, Van and Prissy. Thank you, Samjo. We happy to be doing this. I mean, it's. And then Stelita says that, please, what about herbal medicines? Prissy, do you have any take on that?
Herbal medicines.
Sorry, we asking Prissy all this. Sorry, Prissy. I mean, we asking Prissy all this because this is more like she's a biochemist and she's doing this to the highest degree, to the level of PhD. So we feel we can learn something. Yeah,
I think that there are people who are best. So we have people who have gone to learn herbal medicine in the universities, and they are the best people to prescribe, because I know that there are some herbal drugs that work. Not the type that those that stand in the car and have like one drug that's multiple. It can cure from cancer to malaria to fever. No, not that type of herbal medicine. We have people who are trained to administer herbal medication. So when you go to a place like in Ghana, what's the name of the hospital? Lekman. Lekman. Yeah, when you go to Lekman, they have a herbal medicine division. So if you want to use herbal medicine, you can go.
And we have a friend, a very good friend, who is a doctor there, a herbal doctor. Yeah, we can recommend you. Yeah.
So you can go for herbal medicine, but not from those who are not certified to be selling the herbal medications.
Right. Okay. Then Stephen says that having sex is natural. You don't need, you need no
Yeah.
one to teach you. That I really agree, 100%. God builds that in us. That, in fact, sometimes you'll be surprised at yourself at how well you are doing stuff. Yeah. So yeah, God. Then Emmanuel says that, Mommy, sometimes the women buy for the men to use it. Oh no, it's more like just because of their satisfaction, they're leading you
So
to your
my
early grave.
question is that how do the women get to know of those medications? Sometimes I also believe that I don't talk to other women about maybe intimacy conversations about my husband.
Yeah.
So maybe you have gone out there to your woman who brought it has gone out there to complain to someone that you are not performing. So if me,
Exactly.
I'm there and my husband buys me such a thing, I'll ask him that, like, why. I'll have to understand why you bought it for me.
You are bringing this.
If
Exactly.
I can do something else apart from, because I don't like taking medication. So if I can do something else to improve my performance, I'd rather do that than taking pills. I don't like medication like that.
Yeah. And most times it is when people have really not kept themselves chaste, they've been running around with different people. That is when you can compare that, but this other person goes like 3 hours. I don't even think there is something like that, to be honest with you. And you are only doing 10 seconds. I mean, so it is, so there is a tree saying that if you've carried alcohol and you've carried water, you know which one is more heavy, which one is heavier or more heavy. So if you really keep yourself and you really focus on your spouse, your husband or your wife, some of these complications don't really bring
I want to
themselves
come in by saying not being chaste. Yes, so there are people who are chaste in their marriage, but they've had multiple partners in the past, so they are more experienced. So that is one of the reasons why you see that people are married to they are not satisfied because they've tasted so many men or women but then it's easier if both of you are new to it. You learn from each other. Nobody has more experience than the other. So that's one thing about sex. But once you are with someone who is more experienced, then sometimes there's comparison. Psychologically, they are comparing you with someone else they've ever had an intimate relationship with.
Exactly. So Emmanuel says, mommy, women. It seems Emmanuel really thinks there are women out there who are trying to get people to take drugs to satisfy them. Amen. Okay, so Emmanuel says again, women know everything. Oh no.
But the way Emmanuel is saying women, how many women does he know? Because it's like, he keeps mentioning women. He doesn't say that's a woman. Women. So how many women?
Yeah, it seems Prissy is saying that it seems you're referring to women. It doesn't mean that you've had experiences with many of them. Anyway, Roxanne says true, mommy. Okay, now it looks like this topic is going to drag a bit, but coming back to what Prissy mentioned earlier, if you have two inexperienced people, it's just like going to see kids playing on the football field. They are playing and they think they are very skillful and everything. They are so happy about it because there is no professional footballer there playing with them for them to feel they are bad at it. You get what I mean? They're just playing and they are happy. And that is so pure and natural and so innocent. But the moment there is a professional footballer there, then it makes the kids feel like they don't know what they are doing. They don't know how to play football. And so you would want to really, you see, sometimes when we read things from scripture, or you hear advice from your parents and all to stay chaste, to not to be promiscuous, sometimes we don't understand the impact of all these things till we get married and we realize that, oh no, this is what that is having on your psyche. Because of that, you are with your spouse, but you are casting your mind back to some other escapades you had. Ima says that, Mommy, please, I'm very close to mother's spa. That's a good answer. Right. Yeah. So I think we're going to continue speaking on this because it is a very important part of our marriages, and we wouldn't just keep a close eye to it. And so we've gone past our 30-minute mark, but we would definitely come back to this. And so thank you all for joining in, and thank you for all your comments. They were very important, and I think we've had a very nice interaction. So thank you so much for coming our way. We would we'll come back to you same time next week, and always remember that no two relationships are the same. Thank you and have a nice weekend.
Yes,
Cheers
bye-bye.
and bye-bye.